What's good, everybody? We are back. It is your boy Jarod and your girl Gabby. Episode 66 of the Kicks and Shit Show. Yo, you like that? I kind of freaked. I kind of freaked you out with the 66. You're like, what?
Like, I feel like you just like are a robot and malfunctioned. I didn't know what happened the first time you did that. I was like, oh,
I wish that when I did 66, it would have had like the echoing effect. Actually, Hugh,
we could put this in post-production.
Yeah, Hugh, let's see if we can drop in the 66 like effect right here. Like when I did that.
You don't have to if you have too much to do. Okay.
Hugh, don't make me look silly. See, this is what she's trying to do. She's trying to play me out here in these streets.
I'm trying to hide you up in these streets. I'm trying to make you look good. I'm like Bugs Bunny.
Okay, it is episode 66. Gabby, what is happening in these end of summer streets?
I don't know, Jarod. I feel like I'm 66 years old. I had a birthday on Monday. You did.
You are in fact not 66 though. You are not 66 in fact.
No, although my Jewish mother definitely thought that I was being serious when I posted my location on my little birthday ditty as Fort Lauderdale retirement home. My mom texted me this morning. What were you doing in the retirement home?
You're like,
in
Mom.
Fort Lauderdale? Mom, it was a joke. She goes, oh, well, I can relate. Wink, wink. And I was like that. Why? But I will say it's a great day to have a birthday. I share a birthday with the late, great Mamba himself, with Lil Yachty, with our former guest and BMX pro athlete and Nigel Sylvester. So I feel like
day.
Good company.
You are. You had an excellent time. Well, I mean, yes, you had an excellent time in Fort Lauderdale.
I had a time in Florida.
Yeah.
I had a time. I also, I don't understand. Why do men have to ask my age?
I don't ask you how old you are.
You always make it about you, Gerard. I'm like, no, you're a man of the ladies and a man of the people.
Thank you.
Separate.
You. Appreciate that.
I'm not going to be like, whose man's is this? But whose man's is this? Asking women how old they are and then not taking no for an answer. Or you being like, don't ever ask a lady how old she is. And then they're like, why does it matter? Then why are you asking me? It doesn't matter, bro. Like, get off my dick. You know what I'm saying? What age do you think I am is always my response. Someone says like 27, 28. And I was like, great, solid. Anniversary of my 21st birthday. Leave me alone. That should be a cue to walk away.
Yeah. Yeah, dudes. Let me tell you, dudes. It is it's not a good move, bros. Just don't
Nobody wants to hear you look good for your age.
Right.
It's just last three words. Just turn the knife and stab me in my aging heart. Okay, like I can't.
But it's also dudes. Like, I mean, I don't know what your end game is, right? Like, it's certainly not a foreplay thing, right? So that ain't gonna work. And I mean, and if your whole goal is you're trying to ask to figure out, like, all right, I'm crossing them off my target list, like, well, you already, to me, are suggesting you're some kind of dude that a lady like Gabby would not be interested in anyway. So, I mean, and there are many ladies who think like that. So I feel like you're not helping yourself out with those kinds of questions.
And Dred, I'm asking you this. You are going to be my male focus group of one right now. But I feel like when men shoot their shot, there is no target. Like, men are like, you breathe, you cute, great.
I mean, that's what I would assume. So that's why I don't even know why they're even approaching these subjects.
I mean, like, why do you care? If I'm going to say I'm like 75, I'm going to be like, oh shit, Granny got some moves. Like, all right, let's go. If I say 17, that's when we have a problem. Like, I'm going to start saying I'm 17. Sorry. Illegal.
Granny's got some moves. Yeah, I mean, the only way, if they're asking if you're illegal, but let's be real. If you're in these spots, I think although I don't know, maybe you don't know. It's been a while since I've been up in those streets. I don't know if illegal people are going in there or not. Couldn't tell you.
I don't know. I mean, I tried to be clever last year because we were also inside. I don't know if you remember, I posted my age in Jordan.
Yes,
so if you know anything about sneakers, you could add up the number of style of Jordans and figure out how old I am. Also, you could look at my LinkedIn age. You could maybe Google me. Put in a little effort, man. You know what I'm saying?
Not that hard,
these
people.
These are some aging streets over here. Like, the less I give a fuck about if you care how old I am. Sorry, sir. I mean that respectfully. But Jarod.
Yes.
I know, because you're going to be like, whenever you say respectfully.
Yes, it means
straight disrespect.
All the disrespect.
LA boy.
All the disrespect is coming.
Just call me Gabby and Y girl. There you go. Get it trending, peeps. What's going on in your streets, Jarod?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just chilling, mourning the end of summer. It's that time, right? But, I do like fall, and I particularly like the stretch from my birthday through New Year's Eve, so like end of November through December. And I generally like the fall, so it's fine, but it's also, you just know that all the fun outdoor, that time is starting to wind itself down. So, you feel a certain kind of way about that. But otherwise, I'm just out here in these streets, just living life, just doing me, taking Hazel out. She's sleeping right now, but
I have to know, Jarod, what are these outdoor activities that you've been up to lately? You're
no.
Talking about mourning the loss of outdoor activities.
I mean,
I hope you guys caught that.
Yeah, I mean, let's not lose our minds. Outdoor activities,
and his expectations here.
Yeah, let's outdoor activities like going outside, right? Like those are the outdoor activities. Just going outside
for a birthday high five yet,
That's, you see what I'm saying, and just enjoying the wonderful summertime weather. There's something about summer, right? Like summertime living, you feeling a little easy, life feels a little more carefree. It's all just mourning the loss of that, although it's not here yet. So don't put a funeral on it yet. We still got some days.
That's right.
Word. So, Gabs, I was thinking about something. I saw, well, I'm going to ask you about this first. I'm sure you've seen it, and I'll have Hugh drop in the photos because the pictures were released. Jordan 11 for the holidays, Animal Instinct. And obviously, first of all, it's a women's release, number one. So, of course, I was like, all right, Gabby, whatever. But then I was like, oh, animal prints, which I know you tend to like animal print.
Just because I'm from New Jersey does not mean I need to cop every animal print.
No, but all I'm saying is you like animal print. That is a fact. Generally speaking, you like animal print. So I was like wondering. So I was like, oh, is this issue that you would try to cop? Or you're like, meh, I'm good. I'm going to pass on it. Just curious.
So I've been seeing images about this one for a while because I feel like Jordan Brand for the past ever so many years has been dropping 11s on the holidays.
That's
right?
what they do. Yep.
They pick their style, so the cool gray 11s that are coming out this year, they're going to be easier to get, guys. Spoiler alert, you might actually have a shot to get a W1 sneakers app. That's the only one of the year that I got last year, basically. The year before, I was able to cop a pair of breads.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth. It's not a no and it's not a hard yes for me, but I'm intrigued.
You're intrigued. All right, fair enough. I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Jordan Brand and Nike over the years has dabbled in animal print, and obviously we all know the iconic elephant print. But you're right. Your girl does like a little leopard, a little cheetah. I was gonna say. Tell me you're from New Jersey without telling me you're from New Jersey. I know, I get it. So I don't know. I mean, it's not a no, but there's a lot of shoes that I'm eyeing in the meantime.
I hear you.
That might take priority.
And I wouldn't say that animal print is strictly limited to New Jersey. I feel like there are ladies from Long Island who also enjoy animal print.
Oh, that's like Jersey East. It's like the same shit.
Okay. Can we talk about this?
Let's be honest.
I was gonna say, let's put this
Skyland and the Jersey rivalry.
Let's put
same
this
shit, different day. I said it.
I was gonna say, let's just put this out here, right? Like, Long Island and New Jersey are literally the exact same place.
Now they hate us because they ain't us, but you know what I'm saying? It's like same but different is more how I like to prefer to call it. And then there's Staten Island is the redheaded stepchild who wishes that they were both of us. Sorry from Staten Island. Ray, I love you.
Wow.
Nick,
shots fired at everybody from Staten Island.
Tell me I'm lying. No, I mean, Staten Island they've excluded themselves by being their own borough. That's it. I know some wonderful people from Staten Island. The Impractical Jokers, love them. I just think that those are the three similarities. That's like the Bermuda Triangle of animal print in the Northeast, y'all.
I mean,
listen, I would say I don't know if anyone can argue with me on that one.
No, it's probably a true statement. Yes, if you're out in this area and you see a woman in leopard print, good guess. If you narrow it down to three places, New Jersey, Long Island, Staten Island, you're probably going to hit a home run on that one. Likelihood's pretty high, and it's not shade. It's just a statement of fact.
Yeah, I was gonna say animal print is great. So anyone who's offended by that, clearly they feel judged and they're feeling some kind of way, and someone makes a statement that's blanketed that has nothing to do with anyone, and they're like, I feel triggered by this. I'm from Staten Island. It's because you can relate. And I hate to say this because stereotypes can be annoying, but they are there for a reason. There's usually a lot of truth behind them.
You know what I'm saying? But you said okay, so all right, so maybe no, not a hard yes, not a hard no.
Not a no. I have a lot on my Hanukkah list.
I know. So what's on the hot list right now?
Well, so there are 8 8 crazy nights in Hanukkah. So I'm like, do I get myself a new pair of sneakers every night? I don't know. That might be my bag. We'll see how expensive my fall travels are going to be. I feel like the resale right now is fairly reasonable on my coveted Wave Runners. I'm sorry, you guys have to hear about them another week. Every single week since the beginning of time till the end of time. Once I get one pair, I'll be like, when am I getting my second pair? I don't know. I think there's just some good launches. Like, I'm really excited about these 1985 dunks that are coming out. The launch keeps getting pushed. It was originally supposed to be end of August. I like the yellow with that kind of acid wash. It's a little bit more off the beaten path than the traditional Jordan red or Nike red. But I'm a big fan of those. They're like weird enough, but they're like super dope. That to me right now is top of my list for fall. I think the fours that are a little reminiscent of the Lightning fours.
Yep.
Fuego. And then, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens.
All right.
I might just like dig into the archives and be like, you know what? I deserve a present. Let me get myself like the Tinker Sketch Air Max ones. That's a classic of mine. So
listen, it's treat yourself any day. Any day that ends in a Y is treat yourself day. So
I mean, I'm going to say Y for yes, that's correct, Jarod. And what pairs are you eyeing this fall?
Well, you know what's interesting? So the New Balance 5740s, I really like those because and here's why I like them. I feel like you can probably guess why I like them.
Dad shoes, love it though.
I mean, they kind of have a dad shoe vibe, but they're sort of very classic looking, right? Like, and you know me, I don't like a whole lot of like
flair,
right? For lack of a better term, right? Well said. I mean, the elephant print on Jordan 3 is about as flare as I'm gonna go, right? Like, I mean,
that's why those the rabbit leather shoes that you bought, that was like
the sevens,
straight out of like Space Jam left field. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what I love about them, we talk about the why. Like the reason why I love those so much is I'm like, these look like an actual rabbit. I was like, I'm in, right? Like,
so then theoretically, you'd like these 11s that kind of look like an actual throw pillow of cheetah print.
I don't really feel the same way about it.
I think you could rock them, Jarod. I would love to see the full fit. I might have to do a little Photoshop magic and like put together an outfit for you.
Wait, are you not trusting my taste to match the proper fit with leopard print?
I know that you would match the fit, but I don't know if I could get you to put them on with the fit so a photo would exist. I think this is something that needs to exist in the universe regardless. So have Hazel take a photo, full fit, because you know that Hazel, sorry to wake you up from your nap. Jarod's photographer. Allegedly, yes.
No, but the 5740s are great just because they have that old school 80s vibe, right? Like that's the thing, right? 80s meets 90s styling, and I just it's just a kind of cool up with that nice big N in gray, the green. It's just, I like it. But I don't know if you know this, they have a collab with Concepts that I think actually this week you had to put your order in by tonight at like midnight or some such thing. Doesn't matter.
Doing it?
I didn't do it, but I like the idea of this collaboration. We know Concepts did that collab with Kyrie Irving with the Kyrie Sevens earlier this year, which I really liked. I love the concept kind of vibe and sort of how they collaborate with these brands. I thought it was pretty cool. It's a throwback baseball theme. I was like, okay, I can rock with this. Like, they have some cool merch as well. So, that's what I think I'm looking for. We talked about this in a few previous episodes. What I'm looking for now in terms of collection wise or even to wear are just cool things that I'm like, oh man, like I could see that baseball vibe and I like that. I'd rock that, right? Like for you, where you were like, oh, the leopard print. I can see that, right? More things that like I feel like it appeals to me in a way that's like, yeah, I'm in, as opposed to, oh, this new Travis Scott. And I feel like we always shit on Travis Scott. I'm not shitting on Travis Scott, but you know what I'm saying? Like the new, like, off-white, whatever. It's like, all right, man, cool. Like, whatever. The
dropping of the dunks for everybody, the off-white dunks. Like, right. I've seen those shoeboxes all over my feed. Your girl took an L again. Surprising to nobody. I love that. I will say, we talk a lot about how sneaker culture has changed and evolved, and with our guests as well. And it's not always positive. Nope. It's like, oh, I've shifted over to art, or I've shifted over to this, or I've transitioned. But I really like that. I think we've started talking about this more with Waz and with Darren, is like collections when it comes to sneakers. A true sneakerhead can be two things. One, they can go into any sneaker store and find something they like because they appreciate the sneaker. Mm-hmm. And I can't emphasize that enough. And like, shouts to Big Waz for that one, because that is so true. And that's what it is at the end of the day, when there's all this hype and clamor around every Air Jordan 1. How many colorways can we come out with? Like, what is different? Like, and I feel like the Dunks are starting to get to that point
Mm-hmm.
where, and the Air Force Ones where like, there's so many colorways and I love that there's something for everyone. But what I really love is like someone like Darren who's like, you know what? These are gummy bears sneakers and I
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I'm going to rock it. And that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, you and I have talked about this as well. Like, I'm thinking about like what I'm actually going to wear. What do I want to shape my collection towards? Last week I talked about how I want to incorporate more royal blue and sport blue shoes into my collection
Mm-hmm.
because that's my
Mm-hmm.
favorite color. So it's not necessarily about the hypest pair or like something that means something to you. Like I recently got a second pair of my NFL Air Max ones from Super Bowl 50, the women's exclusive that flew under the radar.
Yep. Yep.
Got
Yep.
my new pair on eBay for like half the price. And now my beaters can stay my beaters and I can have one as a backup
There you
because
go.
like I just like them and people are always like, what are those? I like that. That it's
What
like
are
a
those?
conversation. No, it's not a negative. What are those? Mm-mm. Speaking of what are those, Jarod, I don't know if you've seen our friends over at Skechers. Our friends who we've never met over at Skechers.
I was like, do we know them?
Clearly, I need to Where's another cup of coffee? Our friends over at Skechers. It's funny because we've talked about them. I joke all the time that my parents are like ambassadors for Skechers. I love them.
That's
So I was
okay.
shocked when my dad was rocking Adidas like a couple weeks back. I was like,
You're like, Dad, what are you doing?
no, I was so proud of him. Adidas with the Adidas socks. I was like, all right, Dad, get on our level.
Winning.
Yeah. But every other sneaker pick I have with my parents is them in Skechers. So Skechers is now doing a line of functional shoes for work. So we talk a lot about fashion versus function. Like they're coming at the croc, right? For kitchen employees and nurses. So I thought that was really interesting. And I think that's something that, for obvious reasons, a lot of people in sneakers are maybe not talking about that so much. But I would love your take on it because we talk a lot about like the fashion versus function as we have gone through the show since its inception.
Yeah, I mean, look, it for me, it's always like you don't want to wear something ugly on your feet, right? Like that's just like, you just don't want to. I would imagine. Now we do know there are levels to this, right? There are people who take what they wear on their feet to a certain level, and others who put less time into it, right? And, whatever. It's not judgment either way. You do you. But I think if you're going to be in some kind of footwear and it's going to be for any amount of extended time, and I don't want to be anything uncomfortable, right? Like, man, like if I have to walk around or stand a lot or no, man, I don't want anything that's going to hurt my feet, which is why I always it's amazing to me how women wear heels all day. Because I'm like, I just don't know how you do it. Like,
not me,
well,
not
yeah,
you.
not you.
How they? I don't know how they do it either. I don't even know how people wear some Nikes all day. Like, is this a missed opportunity for other brands that could maybe be dabbling in almost like the service industry, like a Nike or an Adidas or a New Balance or Reebok?
It's interesting. I look at like nurses and like people like that who are constantly on their feet like 15, 16-hour days, right? And I always check out them like, I wonder what feels good on their feet to be standing and running around all day. And you often, Skechers that's a brand I see a ton on nurses. What's interesting too, Gabs? The Adidas Ultra Boosts were awesome. Because I often hear people be like, I feel like I'm walking on clouds. I'm like, well, if I was going to walk around all day, I would certainly want to walk on clouds, right? But then it also comes down to what your particular foot needs and problems are, right? Like, are you flat-footed? Are you more arched? And things of that nature, right? Because then it'll be like, okay, what do I need for support and comfort, right? And so I think it's wonderful by Skechers. I think more and more, look, Nike always talks about that, right? That's, performance. When they're creating like the basketball shoe, it's like, look, man, this has got to be good for the purpose of these guys can perform at the highest level. We worry about the style part afterwards, right? And it's like, okay, like, I'm with it, but I think you can clearly marry the two, right? Like it can be done. We've seen it.
No, I agree. And that's where I'd almost love to see like, it would be the most brilliant ad campaign if Nike came out instead of like, how Gatorade is like, oh, I'm an athlete drinking Gatorade and I'm eating the gummies on the side. Nike did one of their commercials and it was like for frontliners. And it's like, how dope would that be?
I like
Shouts
it.
To you, Nike. I feel like you're welcome in advance.
Yes. Shouts to our good friends at Nike. If you guys put this out there.
That they do that already. You know what I mean? There's some good silhouettes. Like, I feel like the Monarch should be something that, bus drivers are wearing and there's nothing against bus drivers and Monarchs. So I want to clarify. I'm just matching silhouettes that are a little bit more in the comfort realm. Because I think I agree with you in the Adidas Ultra Boost, but like that's not an inexpensive shoe. And I think that's where Skechers really wins in this type of field, right? It's like, and most people aren't buying a shoe
$100
that's
shoes.
over $100 that they replace all the time because of mileage. I mean, that's where Crocs thrived. Like, Crocs now has a whole line of other shoes. They have stores everywhere because they're known for comfort. Your girl cannot wear them. I will not.
Well, what about
I'm not there yet in this phase of my footwear journey.
No, you're right about the prices.
But people love them. Yeah.
No, I think you're right with the frontline workers. Like, you do a commercial where like a nurse is taking off his or her sneaker and they're like, whew, it's a long day, you know, whatever. It's like, I kind of like it. I wonder, the Air Max 270, we talked about how that's such a popular shoe.
Yep.
It was #1 seller for first half of the year. Wonder if that's a shoe. Although, to your point about price point, that's definitely more than what someone spends on their everyday beaters, which I bet for most people, $50 is about somewhere in that range. 50 to like 60 is about what they want to spend on their everyday walking beat shoes. What I guess.
Yeah, no, I think that could be right. But I think the 270s are a little bit more accessible, especially because they're available and they do have that kind of silhouette that's like a little bit different, a little bit new. Like, I mean, Skechers has made similar styles off of the 270 because it is such a nice looking shoe. So I'm intrigued to see if this becomes a new category where this functionality becomes a thing, right? Like, is the Tenjun going to expand into multiple styles and different things like that? We already know how much it sells. Like, I know I see those in people that are in the service industry and the hospitality industry. So, I don't know. Maybe Skechers has to watch over the back.
Let us know what you think, folks, about this idea of functionality, right? Should more brands really be dabbling into this? And are they missing an opportunity? Comment in, the comment section below the video here on Instagram, on Twitter, all our social media places. But folks, stay tuned because we have a special guest coming up next. So don't go away. What's up, everybody? We are back. And Gabby, we are not alone. I always, when I'm about to introduce somebody, it's always a thing, right? All right, let me go their whole bio, background, break it down. Listen, today is short and sweet and to the point. Gabby, our guest is the Kid James.
I felt like you needed something.
We got a
We got it right. Cute. Drop in the air alert sound effect right there. How are you, my friend? Thank you for joining us today.
I'm well. Thank you for inviting me on. I've been waiting for the call.
Well, we're happy to have you. So we got to start there. The Kid James. Everyone's going to want to know who, because everybody has those kind of nicknames, right? It's like, oh, the kid, whatever. I'm like, okay, now, where did that come from?
I'd love to tell you that it was some great thing that had to do with sneakers, and this is like how it all came about. It has nothing to do with shoes. It's a nickname that I've had since I was a kid playing hockey in Denver, Colorado, which is where I'm from. So when I started playing hockey, I got pretty good at it really quickly. So I ended up with different age brackets that I jumped to play. So I started playing with the adults at a really young age. So when they would walk in and I was skating, people were like, "Who's the kid? Who's that kid? Why is the kid over there? Why is that guy over there?" "Oh, it's James. The kid James. That's the kid James. Hey, kid." So it eventually transitioned to the Kid James. It went from the kid to the Kid James, and it's, now I'm much older, and I don't know if it still fits, but it's there.
It still fits.
I like
it. Absolutely fits.
I like it. So, all right. So you grew up in Denver. Obviously, it's a cold part of the country. A lot of winter sports, right? You're playing hockey, skiing, snowboarding. A lot of freezing times out there in those streets. Are you still? Well, first of all, are you a Colorado Avalanche fan? I guess that's the first question.
I die until forever, to the point where it'll ruin the playoffs this year. Ruined my whole rest of what was that? The whole rest of the month when we got eliminated. When we were hot, I thought we were going.
So before the or was for you, were the Avalanche always the team there when you were young, or do you remember them when they were in Quebec when they were the Nordiques?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get the Avs until I want to say 94 is when we got the Avs.
Mm-hmm.
And before then I was too young. We had a team called the Colorado Rockies. They ended up leaving, and so I didn't have a team. So I just kind of I enjoyed what was played around me. So I had to make up my own name for a team. When I was playing in the street.
Right.
So whatever I could think of. Yeah, I more follow players. Like Joe Sakic was one of my favorites.
Oh,
so he played for the Nordiques. So I folled the Nordiques. So when I heard that the Nordiques could possibly come to Colorado, I was like, let's go, let's go. Because up in that point we had no hockey.
Yeah, I love it. So are you still playing hockey now? We still find you on the ice.
So every once in a while, I'll pop into a little rink. You know what I mean? I gotta pretend like I don't know what I'm doing because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. When I first left school and I actually went to LA first. I played hockey there for a little while, and they ended up kicking me out of a league because I didn't tell nobody that I could play, and I just wanted some skate time. You know what I mean? And it started becoming like they were like, you can't play offense, you have to play defense only. Fine, that's fine. And then that became, we ended up winning a couple of little ships real fast, and they were like, you can't play here no more. And I was like, sorry, I'm over here. I'm playing way too low.
Damn, they kicked you out because you were too good. So how far did your hockey career take you?
College. It was college. I'm also not very tall. I'm 5'7" on a good day. You know what I mean? So I'm not exactly the height for
Paul Correa. It's all right. You like Paul Correa?
Yeah, Paul Correa and I, we're a whole other level. He's one of my idols. So like, yeah, nah.
So you played in college. Where in college did you play?
Colorado State University.
I'm sorry. You dipped out again. Say that again.
Colorado State University.
Colorado State.
I'm a Ram.
I was gonna hit the Rams. Look at that, man. Colorado State, CSU, nice. Look at that, man. We got athletes. All our first hockey player though, Gabs, for sure.
I agree. It's about time. We're overdue for a hockey player.
All right, man. So you're a hockey player. Look, man, shoes and sneakers and hockey players don't really jive. So when did you fall in love with sneakers?
Story actually. So I have always been infatuated with sneakers. When I was a kid, my feet were so flat. They're still really flat. Were so flat that my doctor was worried that I wouldn't be able to hold my weight, and my ankles would collapse in because it was so flat. Like, there was a real concern that my ankles and my knees wouldn't develop properly. So they made me wear this metal plate on my feet for years, and the plate curved down so my toes could go under it, but it was sharp, so it would cut through rubber. So when I would ask for sneakers, they wouldn't last long enough. So my parents were like, enough. So I ended up having to wear like Timberland boots, those style work boots forever. And I loved sports. I've always been infatuated with sports. So I had to watch all my favorite basketball players, all my favorite football players, and this is the late 80s, early 90s. And I'm a kid, and I want the shoes. They're in my face. I see them. Magic's rocking them. Jordan's rocking them. Isaiah, everybody, everybody's got shoes on. Bo's running like crazy. And I had a cousin who lived next door to us, and he had all the shoes. Everything, and he made sure to come over and show them to me, and I was like,
"That's rude."
You know what I'm saying? But he never knew that I was hurting inside, but I wanted them bad. And it wasn't until like '92, I was 10, when the doc was like, "Look, you've had an arch. It's been here for years. It's not dipping, and it's not getting any better. So you don't have to wear this anymore. Your feet are still gonna hurt, but you don't have to rock this thing anymore." And I remember that. We laughed, and I was like, "To the mall!" You know what I mean? And she was awesome. My mom is the coolest person on the earth, because we left, and I left like 15 pairs of shoes. But the itch was in me so hard. I mean, I think, fives had already dropped. So that my first pair of Jordans was the Air Jordan 5, the top fives.
Look at this guy.
And I wanted that, and I needed it. But that was cool. But the fours, I needed to have them. The threes, the twos, the ones, these had all dropped prior to me being able to have the shoes. So I couldn't have them. So as a kid, I started, the only illogical thing that a 10-year-old would do, I started asking my dad for phone books from various cities, and I started calling up different places, different stores that I'd find in phone books, and I'd call up and ask them if they still had any shoes, and if they had some, if I could buy them, and if not, could they put me to a warehouse? And a completely different sneaker game, because that doesn't happen anymore.
No way.
So my dad worked for a prominent airline, so we would, I'd beg him, let's fly to Atlanta, and I will mow the lawn for the next 300 years, and let me just pick up these shoes, and we'll come right back. So I ended up treating it like a taxi service. So every couple of months, if my grades were good and I was doing right, he'd fly me to a different part, and I would try to figure out a way to see if I can't pick up some shoes wherever I was going.
That's coolest parents ever. I think that's amazing.
It never went away, and I've been chasing after shoes ever since. So it's like a constant. It's this thing I just can't stop doing. I stopped thinking about other shoes instantly. All these shoes are dropping now, and I'm like, that's cool. What else did I miss? What else do I need to go back and pick up?
We were talking about that before at the beginning of the show. What's on your list that you want to get, and then also, what is your craziest story to go get a pair of kicks?
Craziest? Probably flying to a different city as a 10-year-old, trying to have the store owner meet me at the airport because I needed to be back for a hockey game.
You're like,
so we needed to
hi,
fly.
I'm 10.
Yeah.
So you literally fly in and turn right back around again.
I remember I did this for a pair of threes. We flew into Atlanta. I got the shoes. I flew to Chicago because I had a hockey tournament that was starting in 6 hours. So we just jumped ship. and it took begging for my dad to agree to do it. But I got the shoes, and they stayed in my hockey bag until we were done with the tournament.
I love that.
That's awesome, man. That is commitment to the game. So you were committed early.
Yeah. This is before I didn't even know I was collecting. I just
like what you like, yeah.
But the most obnoxious part of it is that I didn't realize that we were short. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know that there was a cap on my size that I was ever gonna reach. So I would convince myself, I'm like, nah, I can get an 11 for sure. I'll grow into this 11. My dad's a 9. I'm like, nah, bro. I didn't even think about that. So my collection has so many weird sizes too. Because I'm like, nah, I'll definitely be an 11 one day.
I love it. I love
that too.
So, I mean, obviously you've been down with this from the beginning. You talked about how the game isn't like that anymore. Like, how now as an adult do you feel about the game versus how you felt about it at that age when you were 10, and sort of the changes that happened into adolescence, late teenage, college? Like, how do you feel about the changes that have been happening?
Like everything else, for me, it's adapt or die when it comes to these things, because nothing's going to be the same. I don't ever want to be the old guy that's like, oh, it's not like it used to be. Well, of course it's not. Things evolve. Like, step your game up or you're going to get left behind. That's how I've approached it. But I've always tried to look at it like, I've always looked at it as a game, or like a hunting game for me. I'm excited about the chase. The chase was always the most exciting part for me. And then the grail was the shoe once I got it. Like, yep, I did that. I got it. I'm cool. So I still have that approach. I look at every release as almost as a competition. And it's not because I want to. It's just like, that's how I see it. Like, now my nemesis is sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we fight. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get up and we're gonna go at it. And if I win, I'm gonna be very surprised. But I'm gonna do it every week like a psychopath, because apparently I'm expecting something to be different, and it never is. But then at the same time, like, I work relationships so that when I get the L on Sneakers app, that I still was able to cop the shoe, and I'll be like, for some weird reason, I'm like, I still got it. I don't need you.
He's talking on the Sneakers app. I love it.
Yeah, I have like an abusive relationship with Sneakers app.
It's
like,
true,
we're toxic
though.
to each other. It's terrible, but it's facts.
It's a rite of passage, though. I mean, I know we all talk about that, but I've seen a lot of surprise wins and restocks lately. Have you hit on anything on Sneakers recently? Any good pickups?
Sneakers and the last time I won on Sneakers app, I got the all white with the gray.
Oh no, the AirPods.
You might just. Ooh.
Oh, okay.
These are the last that I won on, and I just got an early access on them. Before then, I think it was. I have to look. Nothing great. The last time
it's nothing.
It's nothing great. The last like good hit that I got was I hit on the first Travis Scott Air Jordan 1 high. That was my first one.
That's a hit.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. That was the last one, but that was what, 2 years ago?
James, you may have to. Your AirPods are letting you down, man, because you keep. Right. There you go. You may have to go wired.
We're going analog.
That's what we gotta go analog. That's the way to do it, baby. Analog.
I know, always the analog. Jarod's got me having 37 wires hooked up to my computer right now to make sure we are connected, and it works.
Listen, that's why I plug straight into the Ethernet. I don't mess around with no Wi-Fi because listen.
Yeah. If it wasn't that I talk with my hands, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, AirPods, I don't need you. Because I'm going to get caught. I'm going to throw the phone over that way.
All the time.
You know what I mean?
So I like it, though. You have the adapt or die approach, and you see it as a game. But it doesn't, because, for some people, I worry about them, that I feel like losing on sneakers and this stuff, like, it's bad for their, like, well-being.
Oh,
like, and I mean, Gabby, we joke, but I mean, like, I worry about people for real. I'm like, yo, y'all really struggling out here with this. It's not that serious. Like, for you, I feel like, is that how you approach it? You're like, look, if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. Whatever. I'm not stressing.
I have to look at it that way, because, if not, I kind of just chuckle at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I expect to take an L. To me, taking a dub is so rare and exciting that it's actually fun. Like, when I get one, I'm like, nice. That was unexpected. Like, I'll never tell you, oh, I'm going to hit. I'm going to get it. This is the one. Like, I'm never going to say that. Like, I'm going to always go into it, assuming I'm not going to win. Because, look, Sneakers app is a long, long camp out line, right? There's millions of people on there, and there are a million pairs of shoes. Right. So the chances that we're going to hit are so slim. And to think that every shot at at a shoe that you're gonna hit every time. Like that's just silly. Like it's not gonna happen. Be realistic and be logical. So the advice I always give people too when we talk about sneakers are like, well, how do you get shoes? I'm like, I build relationships with other people so I don't have to depend on sneakers. That's the old approach that I still have now. I'll always have better luck being myself and being a part of the scene instead of being a guy in the corner with my phone hoping that I hit, because it's just you're never gonna win that. It's a numbers game, and the numbers are not in your favor. This is like the Hunger Games. You're just not gonna win.
Hunger Games. I mean? You about to die out here.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true. They break us down to build us back up. It's like, we got one win out of a million. Yeah,
yep.
It's true.
And it gets you to the point where you win something and you're like, damn it, I wasted that. I just bought myself an Air Max 90 that I didn't even want. I don't know why I entered this, and now next week when they drop a dunk that I actually care for, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to hit for another 3 years. And it's a whole depressive, toxic state that sneakers keep us in. It's terrible.
It's a vicious cycle.
I love it.
It's awful.
I have to ask though, because I love your approach and your perspective on this. And I think you do such a great job of translating it to the content that you create. Tell us a little bit more about how you got into that and keeping it light and fun.
So I work in television. I've been producing TV shows since 2009, and working in television since 2006 when I graduated college. So I've always approached everything from a storyteller's perspective. Everything has to be fun, light, and it has to be a story behind it. I don't ever want to be the guy that just shows you the shoe and says, look, it drops on this day, and this is what's cool about it, right? And that's no diss, but there's so many people that are doing that that it becomes like sneaker YouTube is fun, but I feel like it's so undervalued and underused in a way that's exciting, right? There's, especially nowadays, people cut and edit so much. You can do so many things on your phone, on your iPad, on your computer, like top-notch Hollywood quality, and people don't take the storytelling approach. So whether I do a 15-second reel or I do a 5-minute long segment, like I'm going to introduce more than just the shoe. Like the shoe is cool, and I'm going to always tell you the shoe is cool, but let me give you a further details of why it's cool. What's the story? Like I do so many, like I make fun of myself for taking L's on sneakers, but what's the difference? Like I approach it a different way, whether I use a different sound, whether I use a different transition, however I piece it together has to be an exciting, fun story, because at the end of the day, this is my favorite thing to do. I love shoes and I love telling stories. So when I combine them and I produce a product that's so much more interesting, like, hell yeah, look at the shoe. The shoe should have more than just, it's a cool color. Or
absolutely agree.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, because if you're chasing the shoe because you like it, like, how about we explain why? And when you do take the L, how about we talk about how you really feel about it? Because you feel silly as shit about it, right?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, can I cuss? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, you good.
We're called the Kicks and Shit Show, my friend. You're
okay.
Very safe space. Let it fly.
You know? Because like you have to be lighthearted, or it's just gonna affect you to the point where you're like, dude, this is stupid. And again, like if it's not fun, then why are you doing it, right? Like I converted my L's into a funny segment, from whatever it may be. And sometimes it's literally just a dead ass look straight into the camera. And that's just enough to tell you everything you need to know. But you just have to understand your story and how you want to translate it to everybody else. And sometimes they just won't get it.
So it's interesting that you talk about curating sort of like a network and people that you talk to in relationships, and that being the old way. And all of this is telling me that, you value community more than anything, right? Like that Absolutely. Is like you are part of the sneaker community. And we always talk about that on this show, right? The importance of community versus dudes who just come in here, or ladies who come in here and just like, all right, I'm trying to get on Instagram and be fly, use bots, whatever. But you're like, no, I actually care about this stuff. Like I care about how you make sneakers. And so was that all born from that when you were young, and the story about having to wear the metal plate? And like, is that really where it all started?
Probably. And I think a lot of it had to do with just the relationships I did build growing up, right? Because it wasn't like now. Instagram and social media brought sneakers into what I'd like to call like the mainstream, right? It's pop culture now. Before all of this, it was on the rise, and it was always going to get here, just streamlined it so much faster because the shoe selfie became a thing. You know what I mean? Before that, you would have a couple of segments here and there with like Entourage, be able to talk about a shoe, or you would see it in media in certain ways. Mm-hmm. But everybody else was in Nike Talk, or you were in chat rooms, or you met people at the mall, or you would walk by somebody and they had heat on their feet, and you're like, You and me, you get it, right? And you would see the same people at the camp out. And when the camp out was 5 people, it was me and 4 of my friends. You know what I mean? Because there was no line, and we'd wait. And when we camped out, it was more like we'd show up at 7 a.m. and the mall would open at 9. You know what I mean? Because there was nobody chasing shoes at this point. And then it slowly became a thing. And I built relationships, and I knew the employees because I was always there. Like I would walk up and have conversations about what's dropping. Like I couldn't look it up. There was no J23 app. You know what I mean? There was, the manager. Hey, bro, let's get this month. And it was a monthly thing. It wasn't like a weekly thing. A couple J's didn't drop all the time, and I still miss that. That's one thing that does bother me about sneaker culture right now. You had time to, for one, get hyped about a shoe that you knew nothing about. You would find out the colorway, right? Because they wouldn't tell you the nickname of the shoe yet, so you didn't know that. Hey man, there's a black and gray Jordan. 2 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, shit, save me a pair. Can I get a pair? You know what I mean? So like those things, that was natural. That's how you did it. You knew people at the stores. You knew, because that's how you got shoes. Even like East Bay didn't. I mean, I didn't start buying shoes off East Bay online until like 2000, maybe even after that.
Yeah.
But I at that point I had reached a different stage, which I got into my broke stage, my college days. In the 2000s, and that changed my sneaker perspective because it all happened incidentally. Like I went from looking for shoes in high school and having like an allowance and a part-time job to being in college where I couldn't do any of that.
Broke.
And I went to school. I had to go to I was at school in Fort Collins. It wasn't exactly the sneaker mecca of the world back in the early 2000s. So everything changed. And for me, this is where my love for SBs came about. Not because I'm a great skateboarder by any means. Like I mean, I can push and coast, and chill out. But they were brand new in the scene in 2000, like 2001, 2002, 2003. Skateboard shoes dominated for a long time. Like you'd see Lakai's, Osiris's, ES's, Etnies, DC's were a big thing, right? People were wearing those, and Nike had just jumped in the game, right? And I had some of those other shoes, but when I saw Nike was in the game, I was like, hell yeah. Now I'm even deeper in the game. Plus, they couldn't sell them to save their lives, right? Especially now where I was, it wasn't a big deal. So, being broke, they ended up on two for $30.
You're like, win
in the color, in all the colors. So we had the Danny Supas, which were the Denver Bronco colors, which is my favorite team. 2 for $30. Let me go ahead and take these 2. I got fits for days, and it was all about my outfit, not so much the shoe, because they didn't have a history yet, right? It wasn't a thing. Those guys weren't big deals yet like they are now. So it was just a matter of getting shoes for what I could afford. And I ended up subsequently getting a bunch of stuff that's considered like a men's heat that I had no intention in ever. Like that wasn't I needed shoes to look good in because I was trying to get girls.
Isn't that what it all comes down to?
I mean, ultimately, that's what it comes out to, right? You're trying to kick it. Really, that's just.
Look. Keep the shoes. They're green, white. Don't mind this little red star on the back. I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? Now I look back and I was like, I bought Heineken's for $30. What? You know what I mean? Because they were on sale.
A wingman. Let me tell you.
They are.
Those were the days. But that doesn't happen
different
anymore.
time. No, you're lucky. Yeah. My favorite are the posts that you see about like someone who got like a crazy pickup at Kohl's or Marshall's that like snuck through the radar, and I'm like,
how'd that happen?
Gilded age, yeah. Every time.
It sucks because I have to. It puts me in like this place where I become a hater, and I'm like, bullshit. You lying? Stop lying.
Like, why can't I be at my Marshalls? I've been to Marshalls. They don't have that. There's no Air Max.
I have to like check myself and be like, "Oh, you hating right now? Stop! Don't do that. Why you do like? Why did you just get so mad about that? Yeah, for real. I'm like, don't do that. You don't hate. Don't hate on people like that." But luckily, I do it from the comfort of my own room. So nobody sees me do that.
So you, obviously, growing up in Denver, you play college hockey. You're a sports guy, man, sports fanatic.
Yes.
So who were some of your favorite athletes' signature shoes growing up that you really like? Oh, man, I got to get those. You mentioned Bose trainers. Obviously, you mentioned Jordans. What else did you like?
Man. Andre Agassi's kicks were so underrated, and I love bright colors. Right, give me all the brights. You know what I'm saying? I'll wear them all day. I'm not afraid of bright colors. So Agassi's kicks were some of my favorite. I didn't mind BK Knights back then. I thought they were a cool sneaker. You know what I mean? It's like, so these were cool shoes, and they looked dope at the time. That was all that mattered, was the shoe. The brand didn't matter. And then we started going. I mean, J Kids in the middle, 97s, 98s. obviously all the big boys, all the Shaqs. I had to have the Gnosis. You know what I mean? I had to have Sean Kemp's.
No.
You know, I had to have the Kamikazes. You know what I'm saying? I was never afraid, and still not to this day, to wear the gloves. The gloves are some of my favorites.
Wow.
Gary Payton's. Yeah, absolutely. So let me see who else. I never got into the Dada spinning wheel joints.
That's all right. Yeah,
you know, that's all right. And the and ones never crossed my mind. It was just never a thing for me. But I mean, if they were, I'd say aside from Jordan and aside from you know, any other brand, my favorite was probably Penny's line.
Okay. Yeah.
Penny's line was my favorite.
Penny's were fire.
Still to this day.
Right? They were fire.
Like I had to have the foam posits. I think I cried, in order to get them, but I got them. I had to get them.
So sometimes that exactly works. You know, we were talking about this last week. Nothing obviously, you know, the Jordan line, and it's still so iconic. The brand, obviously, it was a moment in time, and we talk about that now. We don't really think there's an athlete now who's probably going to be able to replicate that, right? Just because of the nature in which of how shoes are consumed and distributed now, right? Like it's so ubiquitous, and it's just a very like it doesn't have the same cachet, right? As the bands, right? The first one, I was like, oh, and then and like this. And as you know, the further we get away from something, the more mythological it becomes, right? Like it's like, oh my God, you don't even know. And no matter what, like no matter who it is, like as great as people think Zion's going to be or whatever, I'm like, they're not going to move units like that. Is that something you agree with?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, it's crazy to me that people played basketball in the Jordan 1 at all. You know what I'm saying?
Wild.
Because like I run, I've like tried to run down the street like chasing my daughter in ones, and I'm like, oh God, this is awful. People play ball. Like, people play ball in this? It's terrible. But that's the thing. Like now, basketball shoes and sports shoes in general are about the sport. And it doesn't translate into the streets anymore. It's not a casual wear shoe. Like it's hard. Like Kobe's were probably the last of the big names aside from even LeBron. Yeah, because Kobe was still around. Kobe's are probably the last shoe that I still could see people wearing casually. You can still even formally dress up at times, right? LeBron's maybe up until the 8, maybe the 9. The 9's probably already too much. And too sporty, but that's like now the materials are different. We were talking about leather basketball shoes, you know what I mean? Big, thick, nice shoes that look nice, and I mean people still dress them up now, as opposed to fly wire, super light shoes meant to be played ball in, and they don't look good. You don't. What was it saying? You don't wear LeBrons to the club? Like that's facts. You don't do that. Like, you just don't wear them like that. Like I can casually wear it if I'm in shorts or sweats, and I'm casual and I'm just kind of hanging out. I'm going to the office. I can work in those shoes for sure. But if I'm trying to look the part, maybe I'm probably leaving a lot of the Zions, the Kyries, the Westbrooks at home. That's probably just not a thing I'm gonna wear. And I even for the KD line.
I would say that to me is the most transitional out of all of them, especially like the 13s I loved. Because they had a lot of great prints that were fun that I think could transition in that sense. Totally agree.
I mean, you see it with like even with the remake of Space Jam. Like I'm not rocking that shoe ever. Like I'm not. It's just not a shoe that I want to wear. Like it's just not.
What the 18s?
Yeah. Even when they made the special 8, like that's just not a shoe I'm ever gonna wear. But if I look at the 11 or even the 9 that was in the original, like that's a shoe that I would wear. Like, and I don't know if that's because there was a concern with fashionability at that point. Still now that has nothing to do with it. It has to do how good does it look on court, and that's that. Yeah. Right, and that's the end of it. Like there are kids who wear that stuff on court and to school and stuff like that, but they're not. If I walk around in that stuff, I'm gonna look stupid. It just doesn't translate anymore, and that's because it's solely focused on performance.
Yeah, which and it makes sense though, right? Because that's how these dudes. That's how they become who they are, right? It's by the performance. So you can't have them in some, paper sacks on their feet, like, and blowing out their ankles, right? Every time, like, someone blows out a shoe,
the shoes.
Right? That's Nike executives like should have bricked. They're like, oh God, like that's not a good look for them, right?
That's absolutely right.
We have to perform at a high level in these things, right? That's the stamp of approval. You mentioned,
and not to mention that all these guys, they don't walk in wearing any of their shoes.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah. They and now, like, let's be honest, the NBA walk to the
tunnel.
That NBA fit. NBA fit is a vibe.
You know what I'm saying? That is a red carpet. Who's that?
Absolutely.
Show me one wearing their actual performance shoe on. They don't. They wear J's. They wear stuff that looks right with their fit. They know.
They know.
Kyrie was like, nah, I'm not wearing. I don't even want to wear these on court, right?
He did, right? There was a lot of back and forth about the 8s. He finally showed up in the 8s recently. So obviously the ones he's wearing finally got the stamp of approval. Listen, if you're gonna put your name on it, it's gotta look the way you want it to look, right? I get it. You mentioned going to the office. Let's transition to that, man. How'd you get into creating and doing TV production work? Like where did that all start from?
TV. Watching television as a kid, I just found everything mesmerizing. I'm like, how do they do this? Like, how do I learn to do this? And actually, when I first got into television, I thought I wanted to be an agent. I had watched way too much Entourage. I dead ass was like, yo, watch me be Ari Gold in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? The naivety of a senior in college who's just arrogant and thinks he's just going to take on the world as soon as he gets there. And I moved to LA right after graduating. I thought I was like, yo, I'm going to do this. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. And I ended up working at one of the top tier agencies in LA. And I just couldn't stand it. And I couldn't stand it at all. And one of the reasons why, and this is the dead ass honesty, is I had to wear a suit every day. Even though I sat behind a desk and nobody saw me. And they would get mad at me because I kept my sneakers. Like, I would walk in, take off my whatever dress shoes I had on, I put my sneakers on. Because what does it matter? No one's going to see me.
Right.
I was chilling. If I was going to walk to the table and grab some coffee, cool. I'm going to walk in comfort.
And you're a trendsetter. That was before that was cool.
I didn't want to wear. So I ended up listening to, we represented a lot of producers and a lot of hosts, right? And I could hear them pitching ideas to my agent that I worked for. And they're like, let's go sell this show. Here's a good creative idea. And I remember listening to it and like, oh, you know what would be sick? This is a good idea. This would be a good idea. And I started writing down my own pitches, my own sheets, or one sheets where I would write out what I thought a show could be. And I would just come up with ideas out of anything. So I knew that I didn't want to work in the contractual side, but I wanted to work in the creative side. And I ended up reaching out to some of the clients that represented full-blown producers, like bad dudes who were amazing. And I asked them to teach me and to take me under their wing. And I wasn't shy to ask and tell them what I wanted to do with my life. And they were happy to reciprocate and teach me the ways. And eventually, as they moved up, they took me with them until I understood how to play the game and kind of fell into my own and my ability to tell my own stories in a proper way. And then I branched out and started doing, my own shows and creating content for, different networks and different production companies.
That's awesome, man.
I love that.
But it's like you really, I mean, this is something that all the people who watch our show, and they're always wondering, man, how do people get to do what they do? But it's never any secret sauce.
No, but it's never a straight path either. That's the biggest piece is that everyone's like, I want to do this. And they're like, just kidding. I hate it.
I honestly, I was like, yo, I can be good at this. I'm good with people. I can negotiate deals for people. And I didn't understand that at the time. I was undervaluing myself and my ability to be able to tell a story in a fashion that I wanted. And I didn't realize that all it took, it took more than that. It took a lot of work. But to get started, I just had to tell them what I wanted to do. And a lot of people are scared to do it. And even me, I think at some point I was scared, which is why I thought I'd be better at being a suit, right? I'd be better at being this because I don't have to tell you what I want to do. I can help you get to where you need to go. And that took, I think, eventually I built up my own courage and was like, I want to do what you do. If you teach me to do what you do, I will help you do what you're doing until my time comes. And my time, luckily, I got under some really, really, really great guys who had no qualms, because there are people who won't teach you because they don't want you to be their competition.
For sure.
Right. And the guys that I ended up taking as mentors never treated me that way. They saw me as an asset, and they used me in an ability to help them with what they were doing. And at the same time, teaching me how to produce properly. And eventually, they gave me my shows and were like, go do it. All right,
Love it.
That's a good mentor right there.
That is awesome, man. Woo, that's some knowledge, some gems getting dropped for you folks. But listen, we got some more fun stuff coming up with the Kid James. You guys know what's next. America's favorite segment, Shoe and Tell, presented by Another Lane, the premier digital marketplace for dope kicks. So don't go away. What's good, everybody? We are back, and you know what time it is. America's favorite segment, Shoe and Tell, presented by Another Lane. Look, man, y'all know Chad and Adina are the shit. Kid James just talked about community, right? And how it's important to build relationships with people. And that's how he's able to do what he does and not worry about sneakers app so much. if you are someone who is entrenched in this community and you don't know Chad and Adina, I'm going to kind of question your bona fides a little bit because I'm like, well, like, are you really about this or not? Or you kind of say you're about it. Get your ass over to anotherlane.com and check out what they're doing over there. It is incredible. Shouts to our friends. Listen, man, James, this is your segment, bro. You take the wheel. Show us what you got.
All right, man. Where do we start? Let's see.
I'm excited.
Where do we start? Let's see. Should we start? All right. So I work in television. So I'm a big nerd when it comes to certain type of shows and movies, right? So I'm a big Star Wars nerd, and
Nice.
I became a Star Wars nerd later in life. You know what I mean? I didn't grow up being a Star Wars guy. I really didn't care for it until after probably college. One night, things got weird. Things got cool. I fell in love with Star Wars. Okay? So when this shoe dropped, it was a must-have for me.
Oh.
The Jedi SB. This is by far one of my favorite shoes and one of my grails. Because for one, the colors are dope. I mean, the shoe is just so fire to me. And you know, it comes with a great story. It's SBs do it better than anybody because most of their shoes are so themed and they tell a great story. And being a storyteller myself, if it has a story, it's in my closet, and that's just facts. You know what I mean?
Love it.
And to carry with that, we'll go into another shoe. This shoe is important to me because of what comes with it. The Dornbecker 4, you know what I mean? It tells its own story, and like I told you, I love bright colors. So the more drastic it is,
that's your jam.
I'm into it, right? And obviously, this shoe took me. It wasn't an easy cop for me. I didn't get it right away. It took me a while, and I chased it, and I was afraid to pay the price tag. I didn't want to because it went against everything that I stand for. I do not want to overpay. I will play the game, and I don't care if it's $1 less. But I ended up finding this shoe. A guy was he was just cool, and he ended up selling them to me for $300.
Nice.
Yeah, and he was like, "Look, man, they're just sitting in my closet. You will wear them. Just give me $300, and we'll call it good. And just tell them you got them from me." I said, "All right, we can do that."
Nice.
That is sneaker fate right there.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I definitely had to do it. And then, so these, I haven't seen them on the show yet. I haven't seen anybody do one. Maybe this shoe, but definitely not this size.
Check them out. The babies.
The baby Toro Bravo 4s.
That is one of my grails right there. I'm dying.
Everyone knows Gabby loves the Toro Bravo 4s. I tried to make a play for those like everybody else did when they got re-released. No success, obviously, but it happens.
So these are from the initial drop, the first time around. Yeah. So I bought these shoes. I got my size back then, and the opportunity while I was at the store to buy this shoe. And I told myself if I ever have children, this is a shoe that I really want and hope one day I can pass on to my kids. And mind you, what year was that? 2013, I want to say? Let's look. Yep, 2013. So 2013, and at that point, I wasn't sure if I was going to have children or if I wanted to have children. Well, in 2019, I ended up finding out my wife was pregnant, and we were expecting our first daughter. And this is the shoe that I used to announce that we were pregnant.
Nice.
So this shoe, and she just reached the size to wear these.
Nice.
So I just literally went into her shoe room and pulled them out from her stash.
Into her shoe room.
Her shoe room. Yeah, she got a shoe room. That's dope.
Yeah, she's got. Dude, her collection's nice. I tell people like, if you want to battle me, you got to go through her first. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to see her. But this shoe is obviously one of the most important to me, just because it's the shoe that I decided I was going to share this culture with a child if I ever had one. And when I had it, this is the one I decided to tell the world that it was going to happen with.
I love that.
You know what I mean? And then this shoe is just, to me, is just the coolest shoe ever made.
Ooh.
The Supreme
smooth
SB.
Yep.
Blazer done. Like this shoe is just the raddest. To me, it's just everything about it. I love the tough fitted leather on the top.
Yeah, man.
The tongue, the gold tips. Even, some people call them the Gucci because of this little green gem there that has nothing to do with it. The snakes, come on, man. And then the fatter.
The detail, man. I like it.
This is my favorite shoe ever. And it's usually between this, the black and the white pair. So, like, what's your favorite one? I'm like, it depends on the color. It depends on the day.
The quilted pattern, man. You gotta love it.
This is a shoe that's just flawless to me. It's perfect. It's perfect.
I like it.
And then the last one I brought, because, I mean, how do you not?
Uh-oh.
How do you not?
how do you not?
How do you not?
I mean, how do you not?
And everything going on in the world. How did we not get started where it started?
How do you not?
Like, this shoe is just, I mean, it's so big and dumb and
it's so ridiculous, but so amazing.
They're so fun. I enjoy. Like, I get a kick out of rocking this shoe because it looks. Like, don't get me wrong, it looks good, and I dress it right, but it's so silly.
You're like it's a moon shoe. I'm going to space. I'm going to space.
But it is fire, and it is definitely. It's definitely a shoe that I actually ended up with the first. I had all 3 pairs when they first dropped, and I sold them because I'm an idiot.
Damn, bet you like to keep those now for your daughter's tuition.
Yeah,
college tuition.
But that was the thing. They came back, and I was happy to have them back. And this one, being my favorite, so this is the one I wanted to show off because I love it. And it's about to start falling apart. Like I use these. I rock these. They do not sit in a closet. They come out often. I wear them to I literally go grocery shopping in them just because. I was going to say, why not? That's
to the grocery store.
Yeah, I took a picture of it literally as I was pushing my daughter through the Kroger here in Dallas, and I'm like, look, she had her Sean's on and I had these on. I'm like, come on, we look dumb right now. We look silly.
That's just you winning at life right there, and you're also showing us something. Look, people, wear your kicks, man. Like, what's the point of having all these beautiful things if ain't anybody gonna see them, man?
Yeah,
those joints on.
Like, if you love shoes as much as you say you love shoes, then put them on your feet. If they're an investment, just say that. Just say that. Like, let's be honest with ourselves here. I love wearing these shoes. They make me feel good. I look good in them, and I want to rock them. I love this. Every time I put something on my feet, I can tell you the story behind them. Like, shoes aren't just an item that I put on my feet. I'm gonna if you point at my shoes, you better have 5 minutes because I'm gonna tell you some shit. Right?
I'm sure that happens a lot though too, right? Especially if you're rocking those.
I mean, most pairs. And I work with people who don't get it, and they often ask. Like, I'm happy to tell them about sneakers and the sneaker scene, and most of the people that I work with are creatives, right? Because it's television, so
they get it.
They want to understand. They get it. Next thing you know, somebody bought a pair of Jordans. Somebody bought some Adidas. Like, well, what do you think of these? And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. If you work with me, you're gonna appreciate shoes. Like, people, they will wear something new soon.
Sneaker Yenta.
I love it, man. That's great, James. This has been a pleasure, my man. Tell the people where they can find you on social.
You can find me at thekid.james on Instagram. The Kid Jam on TikTok. I'm new. Don't judge me. I'm just getting started. And those. And you can find me at thekid.james1 on Twitter. I've just started to become much more active on that. But if you really want to follow me where I'm spend most of my time, it's going to be on Instagram at thekid.james.
He said the Kid Jam on TikTok. What kind of jams are you putting on TikTok?
Somebody stole my name, so that's I had to bring it down because somebody had the Kid James. So.
Well, folks, you of course, and I see a little friend down. I was gonna say, we have a little visitor. Hey guys,
she in on the action.
I
told you.
Listen, she's a star. We get it. Folks, you know where to find us. We're part of that Count the Dinks family. You find us on that Bomb podcast feed with Crazy Sexy Cool, the original Bomb Show, Work Bros, rap names growing up the same, and of course us, the Kicks and Shit Show. And we are at Kicks and Shit Show on all social media platforms. Until next time, peace. 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 Peace.